Hey guys, how we doing?
Hello.
Forgot where my camera was for a minute. I hope you're all well. All very excited for the unboxing on Warhammer TV. How have you been, Jay? Have you been buzzing for it?
I'm all right, mate. I'm a little bit excited. The hype train has picked me up. I've jumped on at a station. I'm on. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting. Obviously, I've been building Necrons this week as well. So they pretty much confirmed last night. We knew anyway, but they pretty much confirmed that it is Space Marine Necrons with the little teaser video. Did you
Yeah,
see the one they put on YouTube?
yeah.
So I'm pretty excited. I'm looking forward to seeing new toys, and hopefully we'll find out more about the new edition. But if you are in the chat, let us know in the comments. Just say hello so we know who's in. We'll do a bit of a roll call, and then once the stream gets started, we'll switch to that. We probably won't talk too much while it's playing because
Yeah.
that's my pet
We'll
peeve.
be like this. This is what we'll be like during the unboxing.
I might get a notepad and just like, oh my god, fly messages past. But no, it's pretty excited to see what they've got, and we'll chat beforehand. We've got a bit of a time, so anything 40k related you want us to chat about, throw it in the chat now, and we'll have a bit of a recap once the stream wraps up as well, and we can see what you all think. So do let us know if you're in the chat. Stick it in the comments. Let us know if you're in. Let us know what you do want to see. Let us know if you're here just out of curiosity, or if for some weird reason you're just here to listen to me and him chat nonsense.
Yeah, that's highly unlikely. But we won't be on this screen that you can see now when the program starts over on Warhammer TV. We will click to this screen, which is pretty cool, right? That's what's up there live at the minute on their website, on the Twitch stream. But what we're going to do is we're going to watch it with you guys, and we can chat away. So some things obviously we might go, wow, woo, that's cool, hey. But mostly we'll try and keep it in the actual chat box, unless it's something mega awesome and I like wee my pants and have to say something. So but yeah, so I've been excited. I've always, I mean, I've commented about this numerous times on the channel, and in the last two videos I've gone out this week have been 40k related videos from myself. I've always had sort of one eye on 40k. I've always had a little bit of interest in it, but I am so hyped for 9th that I'm actually quite surprised myself how hyped I am for it. And I think it's because this is probably the first time that I'm able to jump on the 40k train and be at the same point in the journey as everyone else, leading into a new rule set. I know there's going to be a lot of things that are similar to 8th and things like that, but everything is brand new, and I feel like I'm not going to be behind the curve, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm really excited, really excited. What about you guys in the chat? Do let us know what you're looking forward to, and also if you've got pals who are interested in 40k and you think they're going to be watching the live unboxing, try and get them over onto this stream and watch on there, and we'll get them involved and try and get ourselves a nice little 40k community going for future content on Top Table, which myself, Jay, and Ben are very, very excited for.
It is exciting. Just to let you know as well, Steve, the stream is running in Twitch now, so you can do your little setty-uppy things. But no, I'm super excited.
It, smashed it. I'm all over it.
Smashed it. What a guy! So no, I'm super looking forward to seeing what's coming. I played 8th for the first 3 or 4 months when it came out and enjoyed it. Obviously, I'll be demoing this until the cows come home at the Element Games Gaming Centre, providing we're open. But no, it's exciting. It's a new edition of the biggest game in the world. Whether you love it or don't, it's still quite a huge thing in our industry, right?
Definitely, yeah, it's massive.
Well, yeah, look at it.
I mean, I know there's been a lot of talk about Necrons because they've not got much love in the past, have they? And now, obviously, they're now in the spotlight, which is great. And then obviously you've got your poster boys, which are the Ultramarines, which obviously then can splinter off into all the different offshoot factions of Space Marines, which is cool, which is good for me because I'm a Space Wolf player. I'm not a Space Wolf player, but I will be a Space Wolf player. But I also have Ultramarines as well, so I can dip in and out depending on what we want to see on the channel.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to as well? Because obviously we're going to be playing a lot of this. I'm looking forward to learning a new game on YouTube, like along with people and filming games, learning from it, trying things. There's nothing more fun than for me, and it's why I play 4 million games, than learning a new game, understanding the base mechanics, and then learning the nuances of the game, figuring out the good combos. And if you think about it, we've not had a chance to ever do that because by the time Top Table was a thing, we were already big SPG advocates.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be excited to learn the game and do it with and for you, and hopefully you guys come along with us for the ride. So it's pretty exciting. Do you want to see you want to give a shout up to see who's in the chat, Steve?
Yeah, so we've got Glyn in. Welcome, Glyn. Glyn's cooking a chicken korma for anyone that's interested today. He's been letting us know over on the cooking channel. He says, "Hey,
there's a cooking channel."
Oh yeah, there's a cooking channel, mate. Don't you worry about that. Aaron's in. He says, "Howdy guys, definitely excited for what's to come. Us too."
Welcome.
Mr. Matt Prescott, our beloved Patreon and fellow Space Wolf player, is in. He is smashing out Space Wolves at the minute, and he's just painted Ragnar, and he looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's a machine.
If it's the first time in the chat, do check out the Facebook group, Top Table Gaming Community, and there's loads of cool stuff going on there. Do check it out. There's details on the bottom of the screen, as you can see. Sean's in. He says, "Good day, lads. How you doing, Sean? I hope you're well."
I was just chatting to Sean actually before the stream, saying how once it's probably running, I'll keep quiet, and then we were joking about how I probably don't know how to do that. So
yeah.
This is going to be a learning exercise for me as well.
The benefit is I'm in control of the stream, so I do have mute buttons, guys. So don't you worry. I can mute Jay if it's needed. Just send me £5 English via PayPal, and I'll get him muted. Therese says, "Hi Jay and Stephen, of course. How you doing, brother?" Samwise Arando, "Hi guys. Are there any rules you are hoping to see redone in this edition?" That's probably a question more for you than me, Jay, because you're more clued up on the rules than me.
And I'm not going to answer it because I've actually done a video about 5 rules I'd love to see in the new edition, which will be coming out in the next couple of days. But being honest, I'm not confident we're going to see any of them. I think we've seen all the huge changes, like the stuff to tanks and flyers and adding the new phase, which is like the hero phase from AOS. I think that is the bulk of the core rules changes. I've said it publicly enough that I will give you one change I'd love to see, but I don't think we'd get. I'd love it if they made the shooting phase alternate activations like the combat phase in AOS is. But that's a personal preference, and I'm not convinced we'll see it.
Yeah. Sean says, "Glad to see GW using the beep 40k logo where it isn't centered and the R overhangs." I've only just noticed that, Sean, so thanks for ruining that for me.
I don't know. Like, I think people are being too funny about it. Like, it looks fine.
The R does overhang the R at the end, though.
Yeah, and the A isn't in the middle of like the Aquila head thing. Like, I get it, but
just twitch it across. Twitch it across. We'll be all right. I'm sure they'll do that before.
How upset would you be if you've got the 40k logo tattooed? Because loads of people have.
Who did. Do you know what? It's new. It's like one of those things. It's new, isn't it? I still prefer the old one, but who knows? In a couple of months, I might really like this one. But obviously, it's a brand new edition. And they're just giving everything a nice shiny new look. So yeah, it is what it is. Damien's in. He says, "Yes, excited. I'm hoping for new blue Necro Marines."
You're going to be very happy today.
Let's have a look at the Facebook.
Greece, not sure if he wants Primaris in his Space Wolves, but maybe start a new chapter, which is pretty solid. And then Will says, "Move on to the next one, Jay," which is me playing games, which is fair. Fair comment, my friend, and good to have you in. But it's going to start, I think it starts in like 1 minute. So when it does, we will switch over to it. We'll chirp up.
I'm already on the screen. Jay, just in anticipation, so I get caught short.
I can't even see that. But here we go. Looks like it is kicking off.
Yeah. Well, we are on the stream a couple of minutes. Well, we're about 30 seconds behind. Here we go. So we are going to shut up now and listen to what I
will be in the chat in text version while they're talking.
How are you doing?
Keep the comments coming.
I'm doing great, Adam. I think it's always a pleasure to do these previews. It's always cool to just hang out with loads of thousands of hobbyists around the world and just get excited about cool stuff, cool boxes, cool models. It's a pretty cool way to spend a Saturday.
Ben's really on as well to do the unboxing with Adam Troke.
An hour or two chatting about Warhammer? Yes, I would. We're joined. It's not just us in this little place today. We have got a whole bunch of people in the chat. If you're joining us today, let us know where you're from. It's really exciting to have you with us, and hopefully we will be able to include some of your questions and some of your comments and things as we go along. On the comments, if you want to join in and you have something you want to ask us, there are 2 things you need to know. The first is you've got to subscribe either through a Twitch Amazon Prime subscription or just the normal way. You'll find the subscribe button. If you want to ask questions, that's the way to do it. The next thing to know is it helps if you write the word question in big capital letters before your question, because as you can see, there's a trillion of you in the chat and it's flying by 1,000,000 miles an hour. We'll keep our eye on it and try and include you. Bookkeeping done. Eddie, how excited are you for the new edition of Warhammer 40k?
I think, like a lot of people around the world right now, I'm pretty excited about the new edition of Warhammer 40,000. I think it's if you love Warhammer and you're a regular gamer, especially, it's just really cool, isn't it? Every time there's a new edition, it kind of freshens everything up. It gives you new things to look forward to, new units to try out. Usually comes alongside some exciting new lore or kind of advancements for the story of Warhammer 40,000 as well. So I think I'm kind of a Renaissance hobbyist. I like every aspect of it. I like my lore, I like my painting, I like my gaming. So kind of every itch is scratched with a new edition.
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember when second edition 40k came out, and I was super excited for that box. Then I was hyped for third edition and fourth and fifth, and every edition that has come along.
Can I just say, guys, also, yeah, please do share the link to the stream in any of the groups that you're in. Let's get as many in as we can. Let's see what we can do with this stream and get some mega TTG hype going.
US, we've had people from Poland. We've had somebody calling from Basingstoke, which is right down my part of the world. It is lovely to have so many of you with us. I know there's a watch party going on with some of my friends in California. Wherever you are, day or night, however early you've had to get up, how much coffee you've needed to prime yourself with, we are glad to have you with us. South Africa, that's something I've not seen in the Twitch chat in a while. Welcome. It's lovely to have you with us. What new models have we seen? Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, I think that's one of my favourite things about these previews is how we get to basically join up every corner of the Warhammer hobby around the world. So you've got people from absolutely everywhere tuning in. I think it's just really nice to see so many people from all over the world joining us. I know for some of those people it will be fairly early in the morning if you're joining us from the far side of the United States. So for those people particularly, thank you very much for tuning in. I think it's about 6 a.m. over there.
Yeah, absolutely. You've had to crawl out of bed at an ungodly hour to join the party. There's something very, very nice about it, isn't there, to share this with so many people? I love being at events and seeing people's faces as you're talking to them about all the cool new things. But to see just so many people, having a wave in the chat and calling out Spain or Australia or all these great places they're from, is lovely to be joined by so many people. Indonesia, somebody's called in from Indonesia to join us in the Twitch chat today. That is awesome. So the question I was going to ask, and it's still pertinent, is what new models have we seen so far in the lead up to this new edition of Warhammer 40,000?
Absolutely. So we know that there's loads of cool stuff on the way. I think people have started to make some educated guesses about the sort of things that might be in the box set already. So we know that, as is fairly traditional with the new edition of Warhammer 40,000, the Space Marines are, going to be fairly at the forefront. We've seen the new Primaris Assault Intercessor, which is a Primaris Space Marine with a close combat weapon, chainsword, a heavy bolt pistol. A lot of Space Marine fans were very eagerly awaiting that for inclusion into assault-based armies. The Space Marines obviously have a lot of aspects to them, but one of the kind of very cool aspects is that kind of idea of knightly crusader kind of striding into battle with a sword of some description in hand, chopping the foes of the enemy down in front of them. So I think looking forward to lots of those kind of armies soon. And then on the other side, we know that the Necrons are going to play a fairly big part in the new edition as well. We've seen the new Necron Warrior. We've seen hints of the kind of wider Necron range that will be accompanying him. Necrons are one of those kind of mega bad guys of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Warhammer 40,000 is certainly not short of various apocalypses that are about to enfold the galaxy, but the Necrons are kind of making their play with this edition to kind of become the preeminent supervillains of the galaxy. We haven't seen new Necron models for quite some time.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, so we saw a new Cryptek, I think, is the latest one they got alongside the an Adeptus Mechanicus box set a year or so back, I think.
Right.
But prior to that, it's I think 5 or 6 years since we've seen.
Yeah, almost a full chart ago as I measure time. So yes, and some of the things that we've just had hinted at are very exciting. I can't wait to see a little bit more of that. I like the fact that the Necrons sit as one of the sort of the macro baddies of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. You have like the Tau, for example, brilliant concept. They are out on one fringe. They're not an extra galactic threat from every direction, whereas the Necrons are everywhere, and they're not very nice.
Yeah, anybody who kind of knows their kind of the deep lore of Warhammer 40,000 knows that the Necrons are a very big deal. Like this is the race that has already crushed empires prior to the Imperium. The Imperium isn't even the greatest threat that the Necrons will have faced in their existence. These are the people that humbled the old ones. They've slain gods. They've kind of broken the ancient Eldar Empire of old. All these kind of the history of Warhammer 40,000's universe on a kind of million-year-esque sort of scale has the Necrons kind of, systematically conquering the galaxy and humbling the various races. Humanity is basically like the latest in a series of foes that this army has kind of faced. And I think you've touched on an interesting there with the Tau and the Necrons, because I think a lot of the time we see see Warhammer 40,000 through the vision of the Imperium. We see the Imperium as a kind of like, they're the humans, they're the kind of easiest thing to relate to, and a lot of the other factions give you a really interesting counterpoint to them in terms of how they sit in relation to them. So the Necrons kind of represent this kind of ancient, much more powerful galactic empire, and humanity's Imperium looks even more pathetic in comparison to it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a provenance to just how long they've been doing this for. I mean, they've slept longer than the Imperium has existed. It's quite a horrifying thing. I just want to give a shout out to your little Space Marine on the box. I've not seen him before in your setup.
Yeah, he's joined us on the box today. I think I tried to keep my the backdrop topical. Obviously, I think he's actually going to get painted up as a chapter. I think so. He's a little bit of a project. I think I might paint him up as a different Space Marine chapter at some point. So in future shows, who knows? You might see him start to slowly change. We've also got an Orc War Boss. He's just sitting there in the middle of mid paint as well, just getting ready for the new edition. You
have previous for taking people's models, licensed products as it were, and giving them new paint jobs. So I'm excited to see what that is.
Yep.
What it turns out to be.
We'll find out one day, I guess.
Very good. Cool. So, do we know anything about the box set yet? There's been a little bit of talk about it.
Great to see our band doing so well for himself, isn't it?
We've seen a few bits and pieces out.
Guy's not looking.
What do we know so far?
I was wondering where he was this morning.
So we've seen the cover of the box. So I think that from the cover, people have started to kind of extrapolate and kind of, put two and two together and work out some stuff. So the cover featured a Space Marine with a storm shield and looked like a kind of relic power blade of some sort. Primaris Lieutenant helmet, so a pretty good bet that guy's a Primaris Lieutenant. And we know that there's Necrons on the box set too. There's at the bottom of the image there is kind of a legion of undying metal warriors marching forward in lockstep to the doom of all empires ahead of them.
It's the box art, right?
Cool. Pretty good odds that you're going to have some Space Marines and Necrons in that box. We've seen a few models that we know are coming for the new edition. So we've seen a model that is a Primaris Lieutenant with that kit. Perhaps we'll see him in the box. We've seen some new Necron Warriors.
Yes,
pretty good odds. We're going to see some of them in the box. Beyond that, exactly.
Top table gaming Space Marine chapter.
We don't know yet.
Let's do it.
Shrouded in mystery, yes. But we have seen a few of the other Space Marine and Necron models that are coming, so we'll find out exactly which of those are in the box, and there might be a few surprises in there as well for things we haven't seen in the box as well.
Very good. I should give a little nod to the man behind the screen, as it were, who just loaded up that picture. It's not just Eddie and I manning this.
Reckon we're going to get the 50,000th Primaris Lieutenant in this box.
I hope so. That is Bailey, who will be making sure that all the tech runs just right.
Legend Eternal, that's what I always think.
To just mention, people who are joining us, maybe you don't join us for all of our Warhammer live content here on Twitch. Every day in the lead up to the launch of the new edition, we're going to be having every weekday a Warhammer 40,000 show. And you've been part of quite a few of those, haven't you, Eddie?
Yeah, so we know that every time there's a new edition, there's like a voracious appetite for like finding out more about it. And what we've tried to do is to kind of give people a little bit of something about the new edition every single day. So we've had guests a lot of the time. We've had Stu Black on, who is kind of lead Warhammer 40,000 from the studio in terms of like he's heading up the Warhammer 40,000 project, and he's been sharing with us loads of bits of information about the new game. Mostly in those conversations so far, we've been delving into some of the rules of the new edition and what's changed. But over the course of the next few weeks, we're also going to be looking at obviously the models that come in this box set. We'll kind of dive into those in a bit more detail. We'll talk to people who've been painting the images. We're also going to be talking to people who've created the lore or kind of have been involved in the kind of advancement of the Warhammer 40,000 storyline and that kind of mega narrative arc that has kind of underpinned the last few years of Warhammer 40,000 and the next steps of it as we go into this new edition.
Fantastic. And I think if you want to be in the place where every day there's a deep dive on all of that.
Steve, we've got 40 people in, and Ben's got 23,500.
Here on Twitch at 3:30 British summer time would be the place to come and join in. It's happening every Monday through Friday, and you'll likely be joined by Eddie or
Steve.
Wade, occasionally myself, and then somebody very knowledgeable from the Book of Box Game studio. Or
I reckon it's going to be 110 quid.
Shed light on corners of the lore and all the exciting things that are going on. We've got a few minutes now before we're going to get into the first sort of our revealed videos. I guess I have a question for you, Eddie. You're a little bit in the know compared to many people. Have you started any new projects in anticipation of the new edition?
I have. I've been eyeing up my my orc army and looking at various different shapes of patrol force that I could do alongside it.
Okay.
So I haven't got all the details. I haven't kind of put the points together or anything.
2 seconds.
Exactly what the forces are going to be, but I've been trying to work out what kind of 25 power or 500 point lists might look like.
So Amazon's calling for Jay.
Like a little speed war, or even like a 500 point grot patrol where everything is Gretchen of some variety. I thought that would be quite a fun way to do an army. How about yourself, Adam?
Yeah, so I have put off. I have a large Dark Angels army. It's no
119.99. I think 119.98. Sure.
But I've put off for quite a long time, properly sinking my
teeth
into adding a Primaris contingent to Strike Force Zephon. And I painted last Sunday. I have a little sort of Warhammer hangout and hobby club.
Gonna miss everything.
With my friends every Sunday night.
Shown it.
And some tips from Matt Gogden from Warhammer TV. I tried a new paint job for a Primaris Dark Angel, and I love it. So I've got a feeling that I'm going to be very busy doing a lot of Primaris Dark Angels in the next couple of months.
I am quite tempted by a Space Marine army of some sort. It's been... I always seem to end up painting black Space Marines.
I'd love it if it was 100 quid, because it means at your LGS you'd be like 80. That'd be insane value.
I've done a Fallen Angels army, as you'd be aware. Even when I did
a lot of black power armor.
Even when I did a Blood Angel army, I ended up having quite a large Death Company contingent. So I'm like, I really like black. The lore of Black Armored Space Marines is
2 minutes and counting, guys.
I do quite fancy painting something like really bright and bold and vivid and kind of heraldic. So you kind of Howling Griffins-esque sort of colour palette, or something of that ilk that's kind of all your kind of heraldic colours kind of mixed together.
I need that sack.
I might be tempted by Space Marines this edition
as well,
especially with the
Space
kind
Wolf
of
one.
Crusader vibe that's going through a lot of the models so far.
Yeah, it could be good. I know when I did that Celestial Lions kill team.
Someone let little John in. Oh, God, Johnny's in.
But it was quite exciting.
What up, buddy?
In bright, lustrous gold.
I love the Celestial Lions. They are one of my favourite successor chapters.
Really cool lore, haven't they? Let's be honest. So, okay, we are standing by to launch into our first reveal video. I think now is as good a time as anybody. Everybody join us in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Let's parole tape.
You're welcome, Adam. You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh. Looks the best ever.
Good job, Ben. Nice work, bro. Ooh.
The shield guys are awesome. Chainsaws for the win. That big guy with the lantern looks mint.
Look at him!
Yes! Look at that! Oh yes.
That Necron dude is mean.
Them Necrons do look sick. Not gonna lie, they look sick.
Woo!
That looks mint.
Oh, I hope you get that hardback in the set. That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Wow. So loads and loads of really cool stuff there. I think just an incredible kind of smorgasbord of awesome models. So Space Marines, Necrons, all shapes and sizes from both factions.
Very good.
Adam, anything that caught your eye particularly?
I don't even know where to begin. I think somebody summed it up in the chat really well when they said skeleton on a shield. It's just the most staggering selection of Citadel miniatures I've ever seen assembled in one box. And speaking of in one box, Mrs. Troke has been hiding this from me all week in strange places around the house.
Oh,
well, snap, Adam, because I also have one of those boxes.
Badass models.
So over the course of the next hour or so, we're going to open up the box. We're going to have a look at every element of it. We're also going to be joined by a range of people who've been involved in the creation of this box set. We're going to have.
I work for the wrong gaming company, Steve. I need to
kind of the lore and the rules. We're going to have some of the people.
I'm going to send me CV. Over.
And in painting the miniatures from this box.
Not much gaming in it though.
Including folks from the heavy metal team, from the miniature studio, including the wonderful.
I need some new
Jez
windows in
Goodwin.
Nottingham.
If you need any nails,
if you want to learn more about this box set, then stay tuned because we're going to dive into it in incredible detail.
Speaking of diving in, like I can open this now, right?
You can open it now, Adam. You can open your box, dive in.
Those Necrons, man.
You can all watch us now taking cellophane off a box. This is maybe the best bit of getting a box set.
Warhammer TV just killing all the other YouTube channels on unboxings.
It's the new box smell.
Late to the
Let's just not bother.
I quite like listening to see if there's a good noise.
The big box.
It is a big
massive.
Box. Deep, isn't it?
It's very heavy.
Wonder if it's got terrain in. That's a good point.
So, box lid. Woo. To protect the box.
Can't believe they've not got a top down.
I'm gonna smell mine. I'm gonna get
4K, mate.
I know. You got to get a couple of 4Ks in there.
I'm getting sprue. I'm getting.
Come on, Ben. You know our setup. What are you doing?
Of kind of ancient evil, crusadiness. Very cool.
Crusadiness. Is that a new word?
So you're a kind of protector. You get a kind of poster thing there, which is, I think, a piece of artwork we might have already seen, which is.
It is. It's like a desaturated version of that Blood Angels art.
Blood Angels Primaris. Space Marines kind of lined up ready for battle. Very, very grim dark, isn't it? Kind of all the skulls.
It's the number of sprues that are sat underneath it. I mean, essentially, what that piece of artwork does is protect the top of your box from your models. And I welcome its efforts, but really, I'm here for the plastic that lies beneath. Ladies and gentlemen, this box is utterly bursting with stuff. Just completely bursting. Sprue. After sprue, after sprue. Do we walk through them? I mean, my camera probably doesn't do these justice.
No, it doesn't.
We've got some pictures of the sprues racked up for us.
Oh, here we go.
My goodness. Okay,
magical. So I think what we're looking at here is two of the kind of lead characters in that box set. You have
that's
a Space Marine captain, and we have a Necron
and the joint
overlord.
as well.
As you can see,
joint sprue.
A few different options on the Space Marine, which is really cool to see.
Do you reckon that's going to be starter box exclusive then?
Yeah, so I think you've got a closed helmet by the looks of things. You've got an open helmet, like literally like his head is exposed, the helmet still on, kind of visor up, which is really cool. That's kind of hinted at in the way that those Crusades pattern sort of helmets work. And then you've got the kind of bare head as well, which means that you can build the Space Marine captain if you want to look just like the one that appeared in the cinematic trailer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I quite like this, the Commodore Garden sort of visor down, ready for Warhammer as well. But even if you don't use it on this model, you've got a nice spare, which is good. This is unbelievable. I'm blown away.
I hope you're not speechless, Adam, because we do have.
I'm very nearly speechless. This is, I've grown up living and breathing Warhammer since I was 10, and for me to be sort of first in line to have a Necron gun is very exciting. Question.
So good.
Well, some of the things we're going to be keeping secret. So, and some of the things are yet to be determined. If you've got any questions about anything we show as it comes along, please do pipe in. Ben, do you want to show us the next sprue? I can hear Eddie rummaging through his box.
You just tell Ben to show us the next sprue.
Oh, come on, Ben.
Oh, okay. So this is the Primaris Lieutenant.
Another lieutenant.
He's got
the tech guy is called Ben. That's what I love.
If you're not familiar with what Neo Volkite pistols do, you probably don't play the Horus Heresy version of our games. But essentially, it deflagrates you. That's right. It sets you on fire from like long range by.
There's your word of the week, folks.
To super combust. It's got a rad storm shield. Unbelievable. Just fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think this is one of the models I think we have seen, but it's nice to see how it all fits together, and it looks like there's probably fairly easy to construct and paint in stages and kind of clip together.
That shield is
kind of
mega.
A really nice job of it. On the left there, we have a Necron Overseer, which is a brand new type of Necron. It's effectively like a mid-level character for a Necron force, sort of equivalent to a Primaris Lieutenant, but he's your kind of...
he's a big boy.
He's a big guy. Yeah, he's a big guy. Put him in with your warriors or your immortals. Kind of have if you want a character to kind of lead those guys and add some extra firepower to them, he's the one to go with.
You may have just heard my dog in the background. Sorry, everybody.
That's fine. I think everybody's excited about the new edition, Adam,
including Jammy Dodger.
I'm a bit behind you. Oh, here we go.
Frames of Primaris
Assault Marines
with heavy bolt pistols and Astartes chainswords. Amazing. Yep. Sorry, I
you get
guess
10
I
of them
be
then.
Quiet as I have a rummage.
The banner
Oh my
dude
goodness,
is
what's that one? I haven't even got to
So
that one yet.
this is probably this is one of my favourite sprues in the whole box by the look of it, because what you've got in there is the Blade Guard veterans. You've got the Blade Guard banner bearer. This is basically all the kind of super crusade-y stuff that the Space Marines get.
Oh,
so
mate.
There's that guy's
if it's
massive
Space Marine
sword.
and it's got more
with
than
a
3
square
skulls,
end.
it's on this sprue by the looks of things.
Oh, like the
There's a
executioner dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
dope
can see
that.
there at the top left.
Possibly the best flag ever made.
Hey Rob, how you doing?
It's very cool. I think we'll have a look at that miniature in a bit more detail later on.
I hope so.
as a
Yeah, that
miniature itself,
miniature is
but
class.
already the sprue is looking.
That's so good.
pretty
And
impressive.
shields. I love the shields.
I know,
Just
yeah.
looking through my box. Yeah, I've
motorbikes.
just got to this sprue myself as well. So this is Space Marine bikes.
I'd imagine these are going to be quite
surprisingly
big compared to the
multi-parts,
normal
actually. There's
Space
lots of
Marine
options
ones, just
on
because
there.
of the size of
Things,
Primaris.
Legs all look
Yeah.
like they're separate, so if you want to, you could.
So you get
fairly
1, 2,
easily
3
swap
bikes,
those round or kind of move them around.
10 assault
change them
marines,
with
3
the
bikes.
Yeah, I think if you've got an extensive bits collection, so say I don't know somebody in this chat.
Yeah, the
had
riders.
quite a lot of
The
spare
riders are
Raven
separate
wing
to the
bits.
bikes as
You
well,
could
which is
probably have
cool.
quite a lot of fun with these.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when the legs
Yeah,
are
and I
on.
think that's the great thing as well, because a lot of people
That is
who
dope.
will want lots of bikes in their army. A lot of those armies tend to be quite stylized. So Ravenwing is a great
Yeah.
example. White Scars as well.
White Scars, absolutely.
There's your kind of White Scar Primaris upgrade kit, which is like special heads and stuff. You can add some of those on and make those look really cool. But obviously, you could do them in any chapter.
Oh no,
like,
one
or
leg
just
is attached to the
sprue
bike
they
if you look
already
at the
look
top
Yeah, I
right
was going
corner.
to say, there's no doubt about it. These, for me, are my favourite thing in the set. The wheels have never been put to better use in the history of mankind. Even those big cheese wheels that they have on the
Yeah, that's sweet.
I had no interest in the Necrons till I've
What's
just
next?
seen these
Boy.
models.
Okay, I'm rummaging for that one.
It was mate.
Good grief.
So
Oh, look at
it
this.
looks
Oh.
like it's a selection of the various Necron weird things. So including the
Oh,
so I think that
I
this
can't
includes
point.
the big
Oh.
Canoptek beast, the kind of large floating
Gonna get the walker.
insectoid thing that looks like it's something to do with
that's what that is.
tending to the Necron tomb worlds, but
Well-
also kind of weaponized in order to skewer would-be intruders.
Yeah, we are lucky to be having more informed guests than us, perhaps, coming on to help.
What are you guys
steer
looking
us
forward
through
to in the
some of this, and I
chat?
know we've got some great pictures.
Is anyone else
put together
Team
models.
Space Marine? Or is it
And then
just
I
me?
think is there one more frame or 2 more frames to go, Ben? Because I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Hey, Sebastian.
8, 9.
So this is the destroyer frame for the Necrons by the looks of it.
Oh, okay, yeah, the sword.
Look at
extension.
them
These are
weapons!
your
Oh,
close
that is
combat Necrons
class.
on a kind of skittering tripod legs. These are the unit that we saw in the cinematic trailer for the new
I'm
edition,
proper giddy to
happily
get stuck
slicing
into
its
it,
way
mate.
through
I'm
Space
proper
Marines.
giddy.
Um,
When do you
Leslie
think it's going to
says
be out?
pre-order
very cool,
tomorrow, I'm
brand new
kicking
unit
off.
for Necrons, one we haven't
Well,
seen
seeing as
before.
they're
It
unboxing
looks
it
like as
now,
well we've
in your
top right corner there,
professional
we've also
opinion,
got
being
a
in the
little
gaming
kind of
industry, when do you
accompanying
think pre-orders are
Canoptek
going up?
beastie of some sort, like a
About
weird
4 weeks, and
tick
it'll be
insect sort
a
of thing
2-week
that
pre-order
kind of
guaranteed.
accompanies
So I
you,
reckon
perhaps,
products
finding
in
more like
hand
him
at the
soon, I
end
would
of
imagine.
July.
Orcboy Phil's asking the question, will we finally be told the battle ready
Yes,
for the new Necrons
Space
now? I'm pretty
Marines.
sure that some point between now and when you can have this in your hot little hands, you will certainly be blessed with a good paint guide from the Kraken guys and the Warhammer TV
We
team.
will have one of the painters of the new box set on with us later on in this feed as well. So, so if you want to know kind of a little bit, a few tips about how to paint your Necrons in the color scheme that we've seen, he'll be able to share some tips with you. And as Adam said, absolutely, we'll have kind of more in-depth guides going up on the websites over the next few weeks. Look, so
Yes,
this
well-
is the Necron warriors. You get a lot of warriors in this box.
Multiple gun options by the look of it.
I think they do all have multiple gun options.
And what I can only describe
The
as
Necrons
quite
do
a
look
few
cool, though.
cool
I'll
looking
probably-
features. There's some,
I'll
like,
probably
ropes and
paint them
things for
up.
their feet to go on, so they're looking cool.
The new Scarab Swarms as well,
There's
they're
a whole
sick.
cluster of scarabs down on the bottom of the frame.
We got the new
Just
gun
it
as
looks like
well.
there's lots of optional heads.
Yeah, so it looks like you can
Steve
build your
says
Necrons
hashtag
kind of
Team
new if
Primaris
you want,
bikes
and you can have
only.
all the heads complete, or you can have
Just
the
a
heads kind
bike
of like
force.
smashed up and missing eye lenses.
Yeah, white
and
scars,
jaws
baby.
and stuff like that. So you can decide how.
Harry, what do you
65
think?
million years
Glyn
has
says
treated your
move
Necrons
aside
underground,
SPG.
whether they've
Never,
been
my
corroded or
friend.
not.
Never.
Bit
Very
extreme.
Cool. I think I could probably look through this for ages on my own, but it's probably best of us to try and allow the people who've watched to be a bit
That's
better
sweet.
informed. And I think we're about to be
class.
joined by. There's a couple more things before we
beneath the enormous mountain.
Oh, yes, a
plastic
hardback book,
Eddie
that's
has
what
got
we
to
like.
Before I have, what have you got?
So I've got.
You're ahead of me, stop spoiling it.
A new rule book, the new core book for Warhammer 40,000.
Sa!
So this is exclusive
Don't know
to
what
this,
that noise
was.
this format. And what's
Jeez.
really nice about the one in this box is you don't have the title on the cover. It's just a pure piece
Yeah,
of
it's just
like
pure artwork
wraparound
cover, that's
artwork,
class.
really nice. And then inside it is
That is dope.
just
No
enormous. I think it's like
iconography on the front.
like
It looks
400
cool.
pages.
I like it.
370 pages of Warhammer 40,000 goodness in there. So rules, background, lore, art, everything you'd hope for. Pretty cool. And then alongside that, as you'd expect,
transfer sheet.
That's a lot of stuff, given it's only quite low in rules.
Build guides for the miniatures, and you've got a book which kind of gives you the kind of rules and lore for the contents of this box set specifically.
Even the bottom of the box looks pretty cool, and it's got these fold-out bits where all your bases hide. Nice.
Right.
So I can go and play with this now,
Oh,
right?
Space Wolves transfers. Got all the different... nice.
I think so.
Transfers for all your Space Marines.
All different Space Marine transfers in one sheet. That's good.
You're ruining this for me.
We should kind of had our minds blown by the box set. We'll just take a kind of 30-second...
I was gonna tell Liza, custom dice.
Who can tell us a little bit more about this box set while me and Adam root through the sprues and ask him loads of questions. So, very short break, guys. We're back in about 30 seconds.
So we're in a 30-second break. That box set looks class to me. Now, depending on the price...
It does look like there's no terrain, which is fine.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of toys in there.
Yeah, there is.
I reckon there's more stuff we haven't seen as well, because that is a big box.
He did say they're going to keep some stuff back.
Yeah, like that was a huge box, and he said it's like that book will be heavy, but that there was not enough sprue to fill that box. Because like that looked like a Kill Team box, the original one, and that had like 20 sprues of terrain in. But what do you all think? We've got a chance to talk to you. What do you all think about what we've seen so far?
I think you get the rule book in it, Andrew. You get the rule book in the box set, the hardback rule book, which is pretty awesome. I'm hyped for that. I'm hyped for that.
How sad are you, Steve, that I bought Necrons? Just out of interest.
I had no interest in Necrons till I seen these ones, like, and they're slowly growing on me. Right? So I'll get the box, and I'll probably paint them. I probably won't. I'll stick with my other.
I'm splitting my Space Marines out. I'm focusing on one force.
Oh yeah.
I'll probably split a box with some pals. I've already got one lined up. So.
Yeah.
Two lined up.
Welcome back. Once again, I am Eddie. Adam's still with us, and we are joined by the wonderful Pete Foley from the Warhammer.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us.
Interestingly.
Thank you for having me on again.
So we've just cracked open the new box set, Indominus. Me and Adam have been just drooling over the miniatures.
100% Sean, yeah.
I think we're all keen for someone who knows a little bit more about what we're looking at here to tell us exactly what's in this box and what's going on. So, Pete, what is this box set? Tell us about it.
Well, I think you've already used the term launch box, and that's exactly what this is the box set that launches the next edition of Warhammer 40,000. And it's got everything you need for the next edition. So it's got loads of amazing new models for the new factions that are front and center this time. It's got saw you guys a few minutes ago showing off the core book, and it's a special exclusive one to that box as well. And then the extra book that's in there, The Edge of Silence, that brings you up to speed from the end of the Psychic Awakening into the next chapter of the story for Warhammer 40,000. So it's a bumper box of goodness.
So you use the term launch set there. So this isn't a starter set then?
No, that's right. This isn't a box set designed for somebody who's brand new to Warhammer 40,000 to get started with. It's designed almost entirely with folks like you in mind, Eddie.
Thanks, Pete.
That's right. So it's designed for people who are already into 40k and they want all of the new stuff for the new edition all in one go. And so that's what it's for. It's got the whole book.
You basically made it for me, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly right. So you've just got that. Like if you want to get immediately up to speed, this is the box for you.
So it looks like all the miniatures in this box set are new. It's all new units by the looks of things.
Yep, it's all
I'm
the
well jealous
he
stood there looking at the sprues.
More than it's ever been before in a launch set. It is pretty spectacular. Oh, there we go. Look, there's a picture of them all.
So that's everything, all the models you'll find in Indominus in one picture.
That's a chaplain. We've not seen that. They didn't show that chaplain guy, did they?
Yes, I'm screen grabbing that.
And the little book and the transfer sheet, as Adam quite rightly pointed out. There too.
Do you want to talk us through what we can see on the screen there, Pete, in terms of what those units are and what they mean for Necrons? Absolutely. Well, the Necrons,
oh my God,
who we can see he's kind of in the middle left area. Oh, there he is.
Overlord.
See, look at this service.
That's class.
He's backed up by a Royal Warden. Let's see if the. Oh, look at the. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So he's like a heavy bodyguard guy for the Overlord.
Part of the court. More part.
I like the partially deflagrated.
Foot on rock,
the floor.
classic
Nice
GW.
Yeah, standard.
We're always learning with our new word.
Yeah, I'm just trying it out.
Plasmancer.
Quite rightly, we also have a Plasmancer, another part of the court.
So I've never heard of a Plasmancer before. Pete, what's a Plasmancer?
Well, he's almost like
Whoa.
a wizard. Harnesses plasma.
I thought you just made a noise then, Steve. It's only just come up on my screen.
To other races, but it's actually super high technology.
Oh, mate.
The brains of the Adeptus Mechanicus, isn't it?
Exactly, but he's pretty fierce and a new type of character for the Necrons.
I think Adam, these are your favourites. I think.
I had a glimpse of these the other day. They're just like, I mean, I'm sure they have a serious purpose, but they're the best looking murder buckets you've ever seen in your life.
They're cool.
In fact, their programming is murder bucketing.
I love it.
That's what they do. That's their special rule as well. But they're there to look after the.
I love them. They're amazing.
I think Ben, we could probably go a little bit slower on some of these because I think people want a little bit of time to kind of soak in the awesome and talk about them a bit.
So, the
War of the Worlds gone mad.
Pretty much
the OSL on the top as well. It's very subtle. That looks cool.
Outside of the box when the Necrons named it this.
Already asked Byron at AO, he'll whip me up a driver scheme for these. They're so good.
Fear of wounds.
Reanimator. I wonder if that's going to be bringing your stuff back, which is very classic Necrons with your reanimation protocol.
To their Necron warriors who do look pretty shambly these days.
I think from my perspective as well, this looks
like
I
wouldn't worry too much about that, Aaron.
Of a Necron army. A lot of your Necron forces are going to be.
I think they say they just wanted to cater to everyone pretty much.
A height addition to it, which just looks cool on the battlefield.
Yeah, especially alongside the kind of shambling hordes of Necron warriors and things.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much.
What's next? It's gone off. It's gone off order. There we go. Scorpec Lord. So
really
pushed into. I'm sure the miniatures designers will talk about exploring the destroyer cults and pushing on with that with this release for the Necrons.
Built
this is
to be painted really efficiently as well.
Angle for them. So the destroyers are all gone a bit mad. Their programming just fills them with bloodlust effectively, and this is the kind of boss man of the Scorpec varieties, of which there are some of the Scorpec destroyers as well. There we are.
There's a couple of questions flying by in the chat. The first one was, can I buy this if I'm new? The answer is, of course.
Oh, them destroyers are so good.
I think the difference between this being a launch set compared to a starter set is that there aren't like little measurers and dice and a beginner's guide. It's packed with even more models. So, but yeah, if you like the look of the Indominus box,
okay.
Yeah,
and they just got rid of like the measurers and the bits and bobs for new players, which is fair enough. You want more models, like everyone's got a tape measure.
Like Adam said, the difference between this and a starter set is usually a starter set would have a nice.
Those destroyers are mega.
Alongside it, that would ease you into the rules of playing Warhammer 40,000 and give you lots of tips on how to paint your models and things like that.
I am hoping it does come with like little scenarios to play you through the box. That's the one thing I hope they keep.
Yeah. I think it does because he said he had that booklet that had the background on. They'll have a little couple of custom scenarios.
I'd imagine so.
There we go. Ooh.
Those destroyers, they're my favourite so far.
Thing that we saw earlier on. So a Canoptech plasma site. What's this fella, Pete?
So he follows along behind the destroyers, ready to give basically like fuel them up with plasma and make them go murder mental.
They're already quite murder mental.
They are, but they have even more potential within them to go even more murder mental, and that's what that little guy's job is.
There's a little bit. There's a little bit in the book that says Canoptech plasma sites. Ooh, say that.
What a T-shirt with murder mental on it for playing 40k.
Infectious sentient energy into the deranged members of the destroyer cults. So get going with your proboscis, little fella.
It's another good word as well. We're learning so many words today. That's the great proboscis. Who knows what else we'll discover?
Of course,
that looks like it's your buff piece, doesn't it?
We know what they are.
Quite a new look for the scarabs as well. They've been kind of.
I love them. Way better than the old ones where you get individual scarabs and you just dot them on the base. That's dope.
And then of course the Necron Warrior, the staple. Now with two different guns.
What are the guns? Do you know?
It's not a test.
Yeah.
I turned off all of my various other internet stuff in order to run this.
I don't blame you. Well, thankfully,
I don't have a copy of the book with me.
I do. Thankfully, I'm flipping through the Edge of Silence book that comes inside it, and I can tell you they have Gorse Flayers and Gorse.
Adam gloating in the knowledge he's got a book and none of us have.
I know. Salt in the wound.
You've seen those before.
Yeah, they're cool, man.
Saucy,
Love them.
20 Necron Warriors is a pretty good start to a Necron army as well. If this is your
so
first,
you get 20
sort of
basic
toe in the
warriors.
Necron waters, as it were.
Was it?
Seems like a good way to get going.
Oh yeah.
And and then a bunch of
that's sweet.
Plethora of characters, which on both sides, both factions.
He always puts things on his whiteboard at the back. And you don't know whether he's trolling or not. New 40k every year, question mark.
Exciting.
Yeah, he's winding everyone up, isn't he?
Necron Royal Court, isn't
Would
it?
red
There's always been
plastic
that idea that you've got this kind of
you
overlord, and
build
he's got
models fast.
the various people that surround himself with like artificers and kind of almost kind of mages and advisors and things. And we've got a few more of those in this box.
Yeah, exactly. It's in a bit. We've just been waiting for the exciting models to arrive.
Just spotted it in the chat. An interesting one is the new destroyers. Do they invalidate the old ones? Because the old ones comes with gun options that you don't get in the starter set. So I wonder if you'll get a multi-part kit afterwards that lets you build the old versions as well.
We've got kind of Guilliman and Abaddon. So I suppose that's telling us that Chaos is definitely still a big part of this edition. They haven't kind of been replaced completely with the Necrons.
Yeah, well, so absolutely. No, the core story of Warhammer 40,000 will always be the Imperium versus Chaos. That's like kind of the meta narrative across the entire, the entire story of 40k. It's just this time the Necrons are up to more mischief than normal, and are therefore the focus of the launch. But the core book is still has Imperium versus Chaos on there. Still very much an Imperium centric viewpoint in that book. As it explains the galaxy. But one of the biggest things that's happening, which I don't want to spoil too much of because of Psychic Awakening still going on.
Aaron, I think it's probably more.
The Necrons have been constructing some pretty devilish chicanery in a certain part of the galaxy, which is threatening everyone.
Very cool. I'm just looking through the book itself, and I haven't actually had a chance to look inside it before. And the artwork in it is very cool. There's a lot of new art in this, isn't there?
There is, yeah, a lot. And the 40k art team have outdone themselves in capturing the grim dark of the far future.
They've really blown it away, haven't they? With just the staggering amount of all the page furniture is incredible. The creepy little.
They're all keeping the book very stealthily out of the way, aren't they? To not anyone screen grab it.
It's something else. Sorry, Eddie, I cut you right off.
I think I've just found a page with Imperial Tarot on, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So there's some Imperial. I'm just looking through it and just appreciating the art. There's loads of really cool stuff. I know that we saw that picture with the various kind of weird Xenos races in one of the articles that we had earlier on. There's a few others in that ilk, aren't there? With kind of showing off kind of Chaos or kind of Xenos or the various different threats that appear.
Yeah, and there's some really nice artwork showing the kind of makeup of the Imperium and how it's all the hierarchy and of it all as well, which is
got a nice kind of something like that where you've got the kind of the Emperor and
the
various levels of society kind of built underneath him. It's very dystopian.
The page numbers stop at 367. From page 367 on, you've got pure art.
You buy 5, you get 1 free.
It is a chunky volume. And loads of it is lore and art and information about the armies and some fantastic galleries and exhibits. But there's also stacks and stacks of sort of rules content, including the thing I'm most looking forward to having a try with my friends, which is all lies in the narrative section with Crusade. I cannot wait.
Yeah, so everything you need to do to start your need to know to start your Crusade is in that book. As well as obviously
I think we'll be playing a bit of Crusade, won't we, Steve? That's going to be our kind of go-to to pick it up.
But stuff, I love it.
So it's crammed full. There's loads of exciting things I'd like to talk about with books and how they work in the future, but it's probably not quite time yet.
No, that seems fair. And I know waiting in the wings, we actually have Jez Goodwin, who is essentially the High Lord of Warhammer 40,000 models to come on and talk to us about some of what's in here. It's been fantastic having you just shed some light on what we've got here, Pete. It's been really fun. I have one question before you go. Do you think if we used red plastic, people would build models faster?
I think that it has to be true, doesn't it?
I think it's got to be worth a try. Right. Okay. Thank you, Pete. It's been lovely having you with us. We're going to take a small break where you can all watch a video, and when we return, we'll have Jez Goodwin with us.
So we're going to show a video now, are they?
Hang on, everybody.
Mm.
Oh, here we go. Let's see what we got.
Whoo! Is that the Pete?
The same one?
Ben? Don't know.
The hour has never been darker. Amidst our broken Imperium, ancient horrors rise to steal what remains of the Emperor's light. Yet, hope remains. Our Primarch has returned to us. Through him, we are reborn, blessed with the strength to endure. And in enduring, we prevail. We are the Ultramarines. We are the slayers of kings. None shall stay our wrath.
Yes. That's a cool model, isn't it?
I can't see it yet. Cheers. There he is. Yeah.
Oh, that main shield in the middle with the skeleton on it. That is something else, man.
Oh.
That's
sweet.
I want it now. So where are we up to, guys? Everyone watching, what's your initial thoughts? What we've seen thus far? Will you be purchasing it? If you do, Jay did pop up a link in the chat before. We do have an affiliate
Hello, everybody,
link.
and welcome back. My name is still Adam Troke. I'm still joined by Eddie Eccles, and now joining us here on the stream is the man, the legend himself, Jez Goodwin. Jez, it is a pleasure to have you join us here on this 40k preview stream. Thanks for coming in today.
Well, I'm not come anywhere, have I? I'm sitting in this fortress of solitude. I didn't actually have to come.
Wonder if anyone's made any fan memes for the group
yet. I guess the commute is easier today than normal. For anybody who doesn't know, you have been synonymous with the development of Space Marines here at Games Workshop for quite some time now. Can you just give us a little bit of background in your involvement with Space Marines as they've evolved?
Well, that goes back to the first ones we did. I worked on the first RTB01 Mark 6 plastics back in the day. That was last century. And I did a huge amount of work on the Mark 7s and work on all the chapter stuff with that. And then took a bit of a sabbatical for a while once it was done that. And then I was called back in to do some stuff for the Primaris.
Fantastic. So Primaris Space Marines are all throughout this new Indominus box. And we're seeing a little bit of a different look here with these Primaris Space Marines to what came before in Dark Imperium. What's up?
Well, less of a new look and more of an old look, I guess.
Right, okay.
I think we looked at the fact that the Primaris have been out in the galaxy for a while, and you could either look at it as they've reverted to type, or they've picked up some habits from their older brethren. So having done the campaigning thing, you're going to get the more honors, you're going to be able to get more of the sort of like the reliquaries and things. We put a few of these on the first models, but given the fact that they've all decided that big crusade, well, you need your faith stuff, don't you?
Absolutely.
I was going to say, I think we talked to you a little bit when you did the first wave of Primaris Space Marines about leaving them fairly plain so that painters were able to kind of add accessories themselves, but you'd always hinted that you had a desire to revisit them and kind of add more of that dark gothicness to them.
Yeah, I mean, I've done this thing about the fact that Marines are a large spectrum of images before, and Stu Black did it, mentioned it again last weekend, I think it was, when the last preview you did. But they cover a huge amount of ground, Space Marines, and that gothic, knightly, almost crusty look to them is one part of it, and it was one that we always wanted to. That we weren't going to abandon it, but it's now that it's Crusade time, it's time to get the relics out of the chapter repositories and strap on your skeletons.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
There's going to be loads of little add-on bits.
So, was this
stick
return
on your
to
Space
sort of
Marines, it sounds
90
like.
imagery for Primaris Space Marines something you'd always planned, or did it sort of generate over time?
No, it was planned. When we've started the Primaris project, I did up a whole bunch of mock-ups for different suits of armor, different styles of armor, and you've seen several of those already: the Intercessor suit, the Phobos suit, the 2 different flying suits. And one of the things that I did was a Crusader suit. So I did a little mock-up, a little handmade mock-up in putty and spit and stuff like that, and which was called the Crusader Marine. And actually, he's really what Blade Guard ended up looking like. So yeah, this is way back. So I know
we've got a picture of up on the screen just now.
Yeah, these are the guys.
So a lot of them look like they hark back to some of that very early kind of almost Horus Heresy era,
awesome,
from like the very early inception of the Space Marines.
Yeah, it was always the intention to try and put some shading in.
They look like bigger bolters as well, pistols.
You wouldn't be sort of like one suit, another suit, and no crossover.
So
There's
good.
A lot of elements of the Intercessor suits here, but they have the extra large pauldrons that you get on the Gravis suits, and you've got a reinforced helmet. You've got several other things, including the Serco, that takes it more in that direction.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm looking at them and I can already imagine them looking incredibly cool in a variety of different color schemes. They look like they're ready to be Black Templars or Dark Angels or Blood Angels. I think they look like they're going to lend themselves very well to a whole range of chapters.
So your box getting painted as Ultras, Steve, or Wolves?
The models themselves don't have sculpted iconography on the shoulder pads, so that you can adapt them to any of your chapters.
I need to pick an army, don't I?
Sort of follows on from what we wanted to do with the Primaris initially, which
got
was
more
to just
Ultras
give
done,
them
though.
the opportunity for
I've got quite a few.
just about anybody that
done,
collects Space Marines to have
never brought them in.
their armies.
Yeah, speaking. Sorry, it's too good of a segue to pass up. Speaking of things that would go well with anybody's armies, bikes are back, as in big Space Marine bikes with wheels, and this particular nerd is over the moon about it. So, and something we've observed is they don't float like the other Primaris vehicles.
No, they don't. If you look at all of the previous Marine vehicles that we did, we didn't have one method of locomotion for all of them. We had tracks, we had wheels, we had hovers, and I wanted to keep this up with this. We'd done some repulsor vehicles, but the repulsor vehicles were only part of the story. So we did a lot of exploration about what we could do in terms of the bike design. And I think you've got Ed on later. He'll probably
Outrider Squad. They're quite cool.
Yeah, very cool.
But when we looked at it, it was too good an opportunity to miss, to have those huge wheels.
Too much edge highlighting for my plate, though.
They do look absolutely like they're just going to roll straight over a heretic, don't they? I think, am I right in saying that you were involved in some of the very early Space Marine vehicle designs?
Yeah.
I think I've got a White Dwarf somewhere where you're talking about making the first Land Raider.
I didn't do the very first Land Raider, but the one that we know and love. Or I hope you love it anyway.
I do. I've got like 7 of them.
That was made physically, so that was before computers and stuff like that. So yes, that was an interesting model to make. So sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's really nice that even with the new range of Space Marine vehicles, you can still see a lot of those design aesthetics that we're so familiar with from some of the earlier vehicles and bikes and land speeds and things like that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that blocky element to them, the sort of chamfered sides. And just, I keep using the word brutal, but brutality of the vehicles.
Yeah, they've got a really nice overlap, haven't they, between, like, they're clearly incredibly utilitarian and efficient, but at the same time they're kind of unsubtle in their shape. They're all kind of blocks and squares and hard edges.
Yeah. That's a flavour of all of the Marine stuff, and it's one that we wanted to keep on here. But as I said, didn't really want to get it down to the fact that all of the new Marine vehicles are going to use repulsor technology. Doesn't mean we won't do it again, but I'd like to sort of like make sure that it's not the expected thing, shall we say.
Oh, that's great. So I have 2 more questions I want to throw your way before we bring Ed in. First is, there's a big range of characters in the box. What did you want to establish with all these different characters that have gone in?
So the characters really split into two things that we wanted to do with it. One of those was really going over the top on the relics and the sort of stuff to do with the faith and the standards. So you see this guy here, you've just put up on here. He's got his sacred shield with. I hope there's a force field around that. Otherwise, that's.
Oh, mate, look how good that captain is. Oh no, Steve's taking a selfie.
This was an opportunity to do some characters
that is class.
Steve's doing his Instagram while he's missing the big reveals. But look how good that Primaris captain is, man.
One relic.
That shield's like a full model to paint.
You've got, they're really dripping
with sort
of character.
With a dead Necron as well, it's a good touch.
Oh, not quite.
It scares me to paint that shit.
I love the respirator, but you can just see kind of like bits of the face through it. That's really cool.
Yeah, how unfun is it going to be trying to paint eyes on that?
And you can see the head inside.
It's your problem.
We've
Mine are
seen
robots,
those helmets
mate.
for like 30 years, and we've never seen one with the visor up before. Just
it's a nice little bit of character. I think that guy gets a couple of other heads as well.
Ah, so that is. Oh yeah, look at the top. So that's the open visor. That's so good.
Around there somewhere.
Look at it.
They form that.
Yeah.
It's the line marines that
That's
are
pretty
actually
sweet.
a bit more decorated and give you a bit more personality there.
Lieutenant's
The
good
other
as well.
side of it was really the more faith-based stuff. So
You're right.
that
Them
chap,
gun pouches are more than bolt
execution
pistols, really, aren't they? They're massive.
Judicia, yeah, we've been tripping on that one as well.
That chaplain.
Spoilers.
Chaplain. So in the same way as when we
Terminator
first
face.
did a librarian, the second time we did a librarian, we did a very different style of librarian.
So good.
With this, we wanted to start delving down into the way in which the chaplains work, so that in this box you actually
Yeah, that's sweet.
have this Primaris chaplain, and then you have the I can never get this right, Judicar.
I reckon you could chaos him up and make him a dark apostle or something so easily.
Yeah.
God, he has that whole faith relic type feel to that.
That he is class.
Just because we've done one.
I've seen it before you get on as well.
Chaplain in a big coat with a hood.
Judicia.
Keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's. I can't remember what it was now, but like it's Latin on his sword, and it does translate to something like quite a cool. You're gonna die.
More depth here.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
have a
sick.
favourite model in the set, Jez?
You're looking at him.
I really like Space
Is your-
Marines in
is your
black
favourite
armor
model?
as well.
Yeah.
Check him out.
He's
His
a fierce
ring.
looking guy. It's the flat-ended.
Not seen the back yet.
Blade, straight out of sort of.
Part of it, but also the fact that we left one of the shoulder
Shocking,
pads on
mate.
the right-hand side and he's got his coat down.
Family friendly.
Bad boy.
I love it.
So
Right,
good.
We are well and truly out of time. Jez, it has been an honour and a pleasure to have you on with us.
Reminds me of Auron from
Chat
one of
has
the
been
Final
wonderful.
Fantasy games, and he used to like drop his cloak before he.
Praise on the work
Yeah,
that
it's
you've
dope.
done, put in over the years. So there's a lot of enjoyment out there. There was one question I saw fly by, and I just wanted to ask before we jump on to speak to Ed, and that was: do the models that you make when you're doing concepts, do they become the finished models, or do they go on to inform the work of other designers?
Mine tend to be a little bit more finished. I think that's due to the background of actually being a miniature designer myself. And there's a bit of room for manoeuvre in there, but actually I'm blessed with the guys that work on these things are a great team, and it does become collaborative until I go, no, I want that rivet there.
That's great.
So a little from column A and a little from column B there, Adam.
Fantastic.
I suppose if you're the guy they named the bolters after, you're allowed to call where the rivet goes.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. So, and somebody else has just put on, and I'll extend the invitation. Would you mind coming on maybe one day and joining the guys like Nick and Peachy and Ben Bailey for a hangout and hobby one day?
Well, I could do, yeah. Although you won't catch me painting miniatures, I'm a bit too long in the tooth for that one.
Sounds good. I asked the question, person in the chat. Right. It has been lovely having you, Jez. Thank you very much. Everybody in the chat, hold tight. We will be back just after a short break with Ed Cottrill, who is another one of the designers who's worked on this Indominus set. Hold on to your horses.
Yeah, those like command models, class. Beautiful.
Yeah, they're good.
Really cool, man. I can't wait to get hold of them.
In case he's watching it back as well, I've WhatsApp you, Steve. I'm going to say a massive apology to Aaron Noon, and I have messaged him because I went to click reply on YouTube and I blocked him from the chat. So apologies, Aaron. I've sent you a message on Facebook apologising. I'm an idiot. Like, I've got the chat on my iPad screen. It's quite small, and I've clicked the wrong button, so I do apologise.
He's commenting through YouTube. Have you done it on YouTube or on Facebook?
I did it on the Restream chat, and it's kind of pulled all his comments out of the chat.
Oh, all right.
So I really apologise, mate. I'm an idiot.
You are an idiot.
What do you reckon, eh?
Well, he can chat through Facebook though, can't he?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm excited. That box set.
Mega models.
That box set looks insane. It's just going to depend on the price. We've not got any idea of price yet, so we'll see if that's in and around between I don't know 100, 130 mark. I think it's a bargain.
I want it at 100. I see it being more than 110, even at 130 though. So if people grab it from Element, they're getting that at 104 with free shipping because it's over 80 quid. So.
Sorry, I did start mentioning that as well. We do have an affiliate, so if you're watching this on YouTube, if you check in the description below, there is our affiliate link with Element Games. As most people know, our studio is based within the same building as Element Games. We're very, very lucky. Jay is one of the managers. Is that a term I can use, Jay? Do you manage?
You can use that one.
You just about manage.
Managed to get by, but no, we will be posting about it loads in the release, but it doesn't cost you any more. You'll get the standard Element price. You'll have it on your doorstep release day. You support Element,
back,
you support me work-wise, and you also get to support me and the other top table hosts in pumping out 40k content.
Designers behind the new Indominus.
What about show?
Ed, thanks for joining us.
That's all right. How are you guys?
Go on, Ben.
We're good. We're having a great time just talking 40k at the moment.
Ed looks like he's having the time of his life.
Well, hopefully you've survived the ordeal. Certainly, Saturday afternoons.
He's just got home. He's been out since yesterday.
Saturday afternoons got better in my opinion than being allowed to crack open a new Warhammer 40,000.
No, it was awesome. It was awesome seeing you guys crack the box open, and
I want a ball on it.
It makes it all worthwhile, really. You know, all the effort and stuff. It's wicked. So.
Well, I think we're just the first two of many tens of thousands who'll be cracking the box open over the next few weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
So, so Ed, you were fairly heavily involved in the creation of this new box set. Just tell us, what was your contribution to this set?
So it started out with mock-ups, actually, ages ago. I was trying to work out earlier when it was. I think it's probably about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
And so I produced mainly the characters for the Space Marine side. So
I knew the answer to that before you said it, Steve.
The ancient, the Blade Guard guys, and also the Assault Marines were my contribution in terms of like final miniatures design.
Great. So a lot of the kind of Space Marine elements of the set then.
Yeah.
So I think I'm right in saying that you worked on the Dark Imperium sets as well, and have now kind of taken the development into this set. What's it like to kind of have worked across 2 editions box sets of Warhammer 40,000s?
Yeah, it was really, really cool to get on board with the 40k team again. So from the beginning, when we did the Primaris stuff, it was myself, Alex Hedstrom, and Jez obviously leading the design phase of it. So yeah, it began sort of like trying to work out what size those guys were. We were like 3D printing loads of different mock-ups and stuff. But yeah, we always knew that we were going to go like relatively like plain. We were like doubling.
That Chaplain, man. Can't forget about that. It's
so
good.
The sort of armor shapes and all that sort of stuff. We weren't going to go full grimdark with them, but we always had it on the sort of in the back of our heads of where we were potentially going to end up. It was quite nervous seeing them develop when other designers took like the dollies and designs that we produced and started to produce characters with them. But
so I suppose you kind of you layer over them, don't you? You kind of start with your basic armor shape and then you build up and you add helmets and extrapolate the design. We designed like the standard intercessor dude first. That was kind of the basis, and then you sort of work up the other armor types from there.
Aaron's made it back from a new account. Good lad.
Always try and produce them early on as like a canvas
Sorry,
for what comes later. So even from like working on a bolt rifle, you know that you're going to have to put areas on it that are relatively plain, so that when a captain or a lieutenant or someone gets that piece of weaponry, you've got space for heraldry and stuff to go on there, and you need to give yourself a place to go. So that's kind of, I think what we've got now is like sort of bearing the fruit of that labor, if you know what I mean. So where we deliberately didn't put stuff before, we've now been able to just go to town on these guys and really go full grimdark. So
yeah, I think
been...
the idea of it being a canvas is really interesting, because I think you're absolutely right. Those kind of first wave of Primaris obviously had lots of space for people to put their own impression of what a Space Marine is onto them. But this range in the Indominus box set very much feels like you've taken the canvas and you've added the masterpiece.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I guess it is that, but also, you know, we've deliberately again, you know, added areas where there's relief, where you can take.
Did anyone notice if they had molded shoulder pads or they were just flat?
Sort of stuff.
Like, did they have icons on them?
You know, initially when you see the miniatures painted, they do look quite busy, and there's a lot of the grimdark stuff on there. I mean, I think the Judas has got like 13 or 14 skulls, something like that. Surely we need more. But yeah, that, you know, the shoulder pads are blank, so you can put your own.
Yeah, it's just said the shoulder pads are blank. So
the tabards, you know, haven't got sculpted stuff on them that's specific to any character. So you can, you know, if you're used to painting, then you can really go to town on these guys and really make them your own.
I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think we've already seen people who've seen the miniatures kind of working out how they're going to make them look like Blood Angels or Flesh Tearers or Black Templars or Dark Angels. This one, I think, is a particularly cool one. I think that idea of the canvas kind of comes back on here, where you've got the kind of layer of the...
Look what he's got in his other hand. Have you got the Blade Guard Ancient up now?
Detail, but there's still quite a lot of space.
Yeah, he's got like a Necron hand as a pendant. That's dope.
Sure. Areas on the
them helmets are cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Sculpted there, so you can, you know, make that your own. And also, you know,
the thing that jumps out at me is there is not going to be a quick paint job on these guys.
Yeah, I'll be done the night I build them, mate. You've got some work to put in.
Between each miniature, you don't have to go for like.
Should we do a competition for designing a top table gaming Space Marine chapter?
Yeah, it can kind of be quite basic
paint scheme,
and they'll still pop really nice.
I especially like the hand on this guy. If you look at it closely, you've got the banner has got a kind of looks like perhaps a Space Marine or former Space Marine as a skeleton, and the skeleton's missing a hand, and then he's actually carrying it around as like a. I suppose that's meant to be like a skeleton key or something.
I really like the arm guard. Like the arms are legit for Space Marines. The arms look much better.
That was what we kept saying when we were working on him.
Shocking joke.
It's like, you know, that's.
You see, Dave, even though you're dead, it doesn't mean you can't go to battle.
Exactly.
He's just a handy guy to have around, isn't he?
We're taking you with us. It's fine. Yeah, a handy guy. All right. Yeah, I see what you did.
Ed, have you got any favourite little details on the new kits that you're particularly proud of, or you particularly like?
Well, actually, it's quite good. You got the Blade Guard Ancient up just there. I think it's between him and the Judas in terms of those little bits on them. I think the banner is probably my favourite thing that I sort of worked on personally. Aside from that, the Judas has got a little skull ring on his middle finger, so yeah.
Is that the 17th skull you were talking about there?
Yeah, there's.
He's got 16 skulls, but it just needs it needs something, you know. It needs a little something extra.
I think I actually lost count of how many skulls that guy's got, but
the ring, that's good. I like it.
There's more on his. There's more on the other side as well. So when people have got that guy in their hands, you know, have a count. There's lots.
That model is something else.
Obviously, you've hinted at this a little bit.
Look at yourself.
Some of these, a lot of the time, you're working from designs made by people like Jez Goodwin. What's that like? Kind of taking the initial design and turning it into a final model.
And the concept imagery he produces as well. I mean, so there's like it's really rewarding actually to see something that starts out as a pencil sketch, and sometimes the way Jez approaches that level of design, it can be quite
he's going to be 40k until it comes out of his ears, like us.
You know, basically, you're making.
I swore he wasn't playing it last week. Yet another top table live stream has corrupted him.
Yeah, stop watching these, mate, because you'll never have any money while you watch our live streams.
The design from 2D to 3D, and likewise the Blade Guard Sergeant. He was the guy that I was talking about earlier that he made.
If they don't say at the end it's on pre-order now, I'm fuming.
So I was handling, you know. I mean, yeah, all right, thanks, Jez. That guy,
we've got 41 in the chat now. 41 people being convinced
to he's not interested
to chase or plastic. Is there anyone who's not tempted?
The details that we were developing as we were going along, like the iron halos that are on their back and stuff like that, you know, like finalizing those things. and it's just a really fun part about job.
Oh, it's been going over an hour already.
Take those concept ideas and make them a reality.
I'm hoping they've got something cool at the end as well.
The bikes, if we make
like an animation or
an
announcement or something.
players. They've now got Primaris bikes for the first time.
I hope so, but they've not been doing that with the.
Excited about these. So how did you approach making bikes? Obviously, we've
thing
seen
is as well. They've put the article up on community, and there's nothing
over the years.
else.
The Horus Heresy, the kind of all
That's
the
so
original plastics. What was the thinking that went into these?
The only thing I don't like about bikes, oval bases.
Part of it is thinking in terms of like the launch box as a whole. So I was working closely with Steve Buddle, who developed all of the Necron side, sort of from a concept stage.
Those tires are Black Templar, aren't
as well. And they had a big thing, which ended up being this reanimate construct. So we sort of wanted the Marines to have texturally something that, you know, maybe not a dreadnought or something like that, because that's something we've done in launch boxes in the past. But yeah, we wanted that level of scale for the Marines, and also with the crusading aspect. It's
about the magazines for the bolters come out the side of the chassis of the bike. It's quite cool.
It's the grimdark version of Knights, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, basically. So I was kind of initially involved in that sort of mock-up stage of them. We tried a few different ideas, obviously, as you do. So, you know, we had some like grav ones. We had the ones with the wheels. There was some with like lighter armor guys riding them, but we settled on this like heavy classic Space Marine look. I mean, like a Space Marine vehicle is meant to be brutal, and you know, it's got that silhouette of a fist, which pretty much every Marine vehicle has. It's like kind of chunky at the front. It's got to look powerful enough for a Primaris guy to ride it. So when I'd finished the mock-up level of these guys, Nick Ho then produced them. I mean, he did an awesome job as well. So, you know, it was very, very collaborative as well. You know, as a studio as a whole, we always sort of seek feedback from each other, and yeah, it was awesome to see them develop through. So once I'd done my mock-ups, Jez did some more sketch work on them, and then Nick produced them, and yeah, I really like them. I think they're awesome.
Cool. Well, I think a lot of people do as well. I think both me and Adam are already eyeing them up for our own Space Marine collections.
Yeah.
I've dug my Raven Wing box out in anticipation, so all those spares are going to go to good use.
Excellent.
I think we are, unfortunately, running out of time, Ed. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the Space Marine models, particularly in that box, that you think is an interesting point that our viewers would enjoy?
I guess just get them in your hands and paint them and enjoy them. I mean, you know, I don't think
we do have a picture on that wall.
More I can add from, you know, you guys seeing your faces opening those boxes up earlier on.
Looks like he's woke up in someone else's house, doesn't it? Just on his phone.
I mean, and there's obviously as well the Necrons, right? I know we've been.
Wonder if they locked Warhammer World down for COVID and left him in the cleaning cupboard. He had a shaved head 3 months ago.
Not a shave. I washed his t-shirt.
I can only echo that. A lot of people in the chat are saying, "Good job, Ed." I think
apologies if he somehow ends up watching
the love and
this.
attention that has gone into the creation of this set, especially me.
So, I've got an unironed t-shirt on, so I can't say out. It's just I'm of a bigger frame, so I stretch it.
You did it. Everybody in the chat, don't go away. We're going to be coming right back after the jump with Max Village, who is the lead of the Heavy Metal Paint team, and he's going to be talking about the colour schemes and things that went into it, especially from the Necron side of things. But before then, we've got a short video. So thank you, Ed, for coming in. We'll be right back.
Ooh. Love a video. Love a video. Hey Hugh, how's it going?
Woohoo!
We have awakened to a galaxy blighted by upstart empires. The unworthy now infest our domain, but their doom is upon them.
That's not how I imagine them sounding.
I was just about to say that.
And at his word, the dynasties mobilize for war. None shall stand against us. We are the eternal scythe. We are the conquerors of gods. This galaxy is ours.
Is that scenery in the background? Is that new?
No.
Damaged statue and that.
Oh mate, they're so good.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So good.
Very, very cool. I'm in two minds. The models are so cool for the Necrons. I want to keep that half now as well, but.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back again. I'm still Adam Troke. I'm still joined by Eddie Eccles, and now we're joined by heavy metal master Max Valet, who has been working tirelessly to do all the fantastic paint jobs you see on these incredible miniatures. Welcome to the preview, Max.
Thanks. Yeah, cheers, man.
It's lovely to have you in. So tell us a little bit about what you do for people who don't know at home.
It makes the rest of us feel bad about painting.
I'm part of the heavy metal team.
There's
12 of us right now that design all the paint schemes and paint all the stuff that you see on the front of all the boxes, basically. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes of coming up with the schemes themselves, and then realizing that on the models to really bring them to life. I think so. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. You can see your sort of artistic flair even in the brilliant posing and light you've got on you as in your camera box. Somebody in the chat just called it out. But let's get down to business. Necrons have had a big visual overhaul for this box set. How have you and your team gone about approaching this big change?
I think, all the factions in 40k have developed over decades, really. And anytime you revisit a range, you have to kind of strip it back to the core essence of that range and really examine it and start again. And if you end up in the same place, great. That's what we've done with a lot of this stuff, or we've revisited Sisters of Battle in the past and similar ranges. But it's also okay to kind of go in a slightly different direction. And if you end up in that place, you just have to make sure that it's because you're staying true to really the core essence of that range, if that makes sense. And I think that's something that we really try to do with these guys. There's so many different dynasties. Doing a new one, especially in conjunction with the Silent King waking up and returning, and all the narrative elements that were part of that, felt really appropriate and really cool, and a good opportunity that we couldn't really pass up.
Absolutely. So how do you approach the preparation and research?
Thing is, from the leaks, there's a lot more models than just in the starter set, so especially for Necrons.
Yeah. Do you think there'll be some side releases as well as the box?
Yeah, they'll do. You'll get the box, and then you'll get the books and the data cards, and then you'll get extra models, and then eventually they'll do all the bits individually as multi-part kits. That'll probably have all options.
But yeah, so
reckon about a month of releases.
Color test and mock-ups. I think it started off with us just looking at anything old and metallic. Really, I remember I literally spent days gathering and laying out pictures of ancient coins and just looking at different metallic alloys and how they've oxidized over centuries, and figuring out what to do with that. And then we just did maybe 50 different versions and different ways of almost on a scale from super grubby and rusty to pristine, and we could kind of pick and choose our favorite elements from that. That was the initial stage.
Sounds good. So what new visual cues and ideas did you and the miniatures team come up with when you were working on these together?
So I think Steve did something really great. So Steve Buddle made this maquette for us with a Necron warrior kind of just in a neutral kind of pose, slumped over a little bit, and what he'd done was
I think what they'll do, Aaron, is I think it's the old starter set will become the new start collectings, because you can't get Dark Imperium anymore.
Like a Da Vinci kind of anatomical stuff.
Get multiple,
where
so
one half would just have the endoskeletal structure underneath, and what that really meant was that we could look at how they are constructed fully, and we came up with this idea of the undersuit and the skeletal structure underneath being in this dark metal, almost like wrought iron kind of style texture, and then had the copper plating on top, which I think came out really, really cool.
Fantastic. You can see the Necron warriors here on the screen. And that sort of almost coppery feel.
We don't know
it's got a nice ancient
good
tone to it, hasn't it?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of keys that we wanted to hit, and like to really tie it back into that narrative. So like the dark undersuit or the skeletal structure as an example is like it looks really sinister and menacing. It also pushes it as far away from a human skeleton as possible, so it definitely adds to
Perfect time to start again now, Antonio.
On top of that,
after 12 years,
when you look at this unit as a whole and you see that like the damage across each individual Necron warrior is different. And
so glad they got rid of the green glow sticks.
On his arm, bottom right-hand side.
I remember thinking it looked really cool then, but then just the time went on, just started to look tacky, didn't
through his leg weave, and you see that structure underneath. If all of it was just the same color, that wouldn't show up as well, and it wouldn't add as much to the variation of the squad as a whole. So there's a lot of elements like that we look at, and we try to tick as many boxes as possible with those choices, you know.
Yeah, I love the variation between the kind of ancient metal on there and that kind of really sci-fi green that's going on them. There's like a really nice kind of, on one end you've got this completely ancient, rusted kind of anti-technology almost, and the other end is kind of super sci-fi space gorse green. There's a really nice palette across the whole unit.
Yeah, I think that it's a testament to their technology that they're still kicking after this long. You know what I mean? Like a lot of other races probably have completely withered into dust by now, but even though they look ancient and quite haggard at this point, they're still super strong, and the technology is obviously the biggest part.
They do look battered, don't they?
You can imagine almost like if you turned the technology off and the
wear
green
marks and holes and
they
everything.
collapsed to the floor, they'd look like they were just an ancient.
Like you said, the missing armor panels and some of them just makes it like
flowing through them that they start to get up, and it kind of feeds into that sort of horror element. You can imagine loads of them kind of in a tomb somewhere with all the lights off.
If it wasn't for the glow, imagine how quick you could get an army on the tabletop.
Monsters sort of rise up out of the ground.
Yeah,
the glow are quite difficult to do.
So a few people are asking a question about the recipe that was used. How do you go about sort of picking the actual colours from the Citadel range for those?
So with something like this, and I think getting the colours right and having the colour scheme just really help tell the narrative story of what they are as a race or people. Is the most important part. So if we need to mix,
wonder if we'll get new paints.
Or try something new, we will, and then we'll follow up with the.
Did with the last iOS release.
The paint designers that design all the hobby products, for this example, we started off with like a Rune Lord brass.
Timbits was wicked.
So now I think alongside this, we're getting a new Rune Lord brass spray. We're getting new
Rune Lord brass spray
to kind of glaze in and grubby these up. So based off of the mixes that we were doing,
new washes, you said, yeah, that's cool.
All the stuff that we see here that's been painted, we were getting a full range of things to support that as well. So it makes it even easier for people to recreate it.
Good shout, Finno.
Yeah, that's really exciting because if you know you're at home and you want to paint in the same.
Brokey sounded well annoyed. I bet he wasn't allowed to say that.
Like the heavy metal team. It's good to know that the same tools and paints are going to be available to give it a go. That's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, there's Ultramarine, like the Ultramarines having Crag Blue. We need the equivalent for these in the new Necron dynasties, definitely.
Cool. So, okay, we should probably just talk a little about the painting work that went into the Space Marines as well, I suppose. We've seen a lot of Ultramarines in our time, but these ones they've taken the sort of the Gothic aspects really up a notch. How do you approach what you've painted in this box to make them distinct?
I think there's a combination of making it a little bit more gritty and realistic. Like one thing that I think we kind of
Necron players in the chat. Are you going to go with?
I really love about
like the box art, this new style that they've done, or have you got your own? I know there's Simon's saying he's going with a ceramic white with black weapons, which sounds pretty cool. Nice contrast.
I was going to do sandstone, but I really really like the box scheme.
Yeah, it does look cool.
Of the Adeptus Mechanicus, that's all part of that from that narrative perspective. Now fast forward a couple hundred years, they've been in these suits, they've been on these crusades, their own culture and heritage, each individual chapter has brought that back into this now. So like from a visual and design perspective, all the stuff that Jez and Ed were talking about is great, and then from a narrative perspective it makes so much sense as well, and I think it just ties it all together. So with these guys specifically, we're doing more weathering, I think, than we've done before. We're looking at the iconography, especially the heraldry and the different like bits of personal kind of denunciation between different Marines. Like the transfer sheet is full of stuff. Like you see these 3 small Imperial.
You've got some painting sessions ahead of you, Stevie boy.
Like
no more drinking on painting live streams. You've got work to do.
And just use individually if you want, so you can really. It's like the new transfer sheet is like a sandbox for you to just put together different types of iconography and really give each Marine its own identity.
I love that idea of them kind of starting out really pure and crisp, and almost being more in line with almost the original vision of the Imperium when Guilliman commissioned them. And then as they sort of hit the reality of the 41st millennium, they sort of get grubbier along the way, so that they don't manage to like raise it up to their level of kind of their original purity. They kind of get dragged down into the quagmire of religion and superstition and this kind of dystopian future that the 41st millennium is.
Yeah, it must be hard to be around, your founding chapter essentially for any length of time without starting.
I like the red plasma.
That they like. And I think the Primaris Space Marines must look at the regular Space Marines who've been fighting this long war with a certain amount of respect, and who wouldn't want to adopt some of their traditions and imagery and stuff. Certainly, I imagine that they'd have wanted to get in line with the Dark Angels pretty quick when the recruits arrived there, and the same with you can imagine White Scars. Primaris wanting to adapt to the traditions and look of their legion. It's really exciting. Okay, so what was your favourite model to paint in the set? Everything you've worked on out of this Indominus box set. Oh, my dog just arrived.
There's so much cool stuff. I think everyone on the team that worked on this project would say the same. It was really hard to choose. I think there's some aspects of the box as a whole that like Jez was talking about, just a deeper look into the chaplaincy and what the Judiciary means to that whole thing is awesome. I think the Reanimator contract, I was lucky enough to paint the Canoptic Reanimator, and that was just so much fun. And the first time we saw Steve's early mock-ups for that, it was just like, this is a next level of weird and ancient and creepy for the Necrons.
I love that you look at that and you can't even tell what it does. Like you look and you're like, what kind of weird arcane technology are those glowing?
It's interesting, like the bread tones through the feet and stuff.
If you're like a poor Imperial Guardsman or something facing one of them, you've got no idea what's coming your way.
Yeah, definitely. It's got like these weird scythe arms as well that are like hunkered up underneath it that you can kind of pick out there. It's so cool. Like all the new stuff in the box is amazing, so it's really hard to pick a favorite.
It reminds me of like a mosquito that's landed, almost the way that its legs are kind of poised. It's really...
I can see that. There's a creepy jellyfish-like sort of horror to it as well, like a Portuguese man of war or something.
Yeah.
There are some, there's a horror aspect, I think, to the Necrons that we're seeing sort of come out with these models, which is really quite exciting.
And again,
like a 60mm base, do you reckon?
It goes back to the core essence of the backstory of the Necrons is really horrific and dark and sad in a lot of ways, so it's great to see that reflected through everything. I mean, we've talked a little bit about the artwork in the book and stuff as well, but like everything from the art, the 40K art team has done an amazing job. Obviously, everything from the art to the background to the miniatures, the way they're both sculpted and painted, I'm super excited to see how everything's come together. I'm great.
Awesome. Well, Max, it has been just brilliant having you come and give us a little bit of sort of heavy metal wisdom on how you approach the project. There's loads of people who've said nice things about the work of you and your team. I think the heavy metal team is probably one of the best known organs of Games Workshop for the incredible job they do, and I know we all love seeing the stuff that you've worked on for the first time. So thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. I imagine we'll have Max back for more interviews and stuff as Indominus launch comes up. So for now, we'll say goodbye, but I'm sure we'll see you again very soon. Everybody hold on. We'll be back just after a short break where Eddie and I will sum up some things, and maybe there'll be just one last parting shot to share with you.
One last parting shot is what we want to hear, Adam. Yeah, boy. Man. I can't believe I'm going to have to wait at least 3 weeks for this.
Or to 6 weeks, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's It's why
I need it now. I need to get cracking on it now while I've got a bit of time.
It was a driving force into the Necrons for me because it means I can kind of pick all the other cool stuff I like and then just bolt this in the middle.
This is cool.
Ready for battle reports,
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I'm still Adam Troke. I'm still joined by the marvellous Eddie Eccles. And we have had a fantastic time talking to the designers and the painters behind this incredible new Indominus launch set. Rummaging through plastic sprues, you can hear Eddie clattering through his box. It's been brilliant. You've been lovely guests here in the chat asking us questions. Somebody keeps asking a question about the Necron base sizes. I don't know because my tape measure's not here and I'm not going to run around the house looking for it. It's this big. There you go. It's not as big as a Warhound's base. So that's the best I can do at this notice. But I did see your question and you asked it a few times and I want to thank you for your patience. What a show, Eddie. What's your highlight?
So I think obviously a new box set for Warhammer 40,000 is always exciting to have a look at. I think today it's been particularly interesting to hear from some of the people who've been involved in making it. I don't think we've ever really had a chance to talk to
these two are going to have a field day when this stream ends, aren't they?
We've released one before, so always fascinating to hear, especially the miniatures perspective and from the,
Let's go build some
painting team. And we will have more of that coming up over the next few weeks as we count down to the release of the Indominus box set.
Whilst we're on lockdown, will be the perfect time to release it.
The best thing you can do if you want to keep up.
I'm not sure if it would as a commercial product from their point because no one's playing with it.
It would from my point of view.
3:30.
Yeah.
BST.
Drop them a phone call. Just be like, "Yo, cool, Steve."
Because every day we've got
hook a brother up.
Guests from the Book and Box Game Studio for miniature design, helping talk us through all the cool stuff that's coming. 65mm is the number that's come up in my chat. If that's the answer you're looking for, I hope it's right. A bunch of people have said, how much is the box? We are not going to reveal that today. There's some things that we're not talking about. What I can say is that the box is incredible value. I have it confirmed that the contents of it, you would save more than
65. That's the new base size
compared to buying those things separately. So it's an incredible value box set as box sets go. And some people have said, is it limited? The answer is this is a launch box. When it's gone, it's gone. This is designed for the true fans of Warhammer 40,000 who are hyped for a new edition of the game. So there's lots of them. You will be able to get your hands on one if you want one, but for a limited time. So don't delay because they won't last forever. Is that fair to say, Eddie?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So you're quite right, Adam. We've made lots and lots and lots of this box. It's the best box for Warhammer 40,000 we've ever made. So we made absolutely loads, but it will not be around forever. It is a launch box to celebrate the new edition of Warhammer 40,000, and it is definitely designed for fans of Warhammer 40,000, so they can kind of jump in with both feet into the new edition and enjoy all the new miniatures from day one.
Absolutely, and as we said at the top, it is designed with established collectors in mind. It doesn't come with dice and tape measures. But if you've been watching this and maybe you've never made the jump into 40k, this is a fantastic box to start with if you wanted to. Right, what is left for us to say? We thanked everybody for turning up. We've talked about some of those questions that have been flying through the questions in the chat. Maybe we finish with showing something, maybe a glimpse of 40k to come even further down the line.
Absolutely. I think before
don't
we
say
go
anything,
as well,
Steve.
Saying that if
don't
you've
spoil
enjoyed
it for
the
me.
show today, a little bit. We're going to have a look at the models in a bit more detail.
Miles behind.
Obviously, the Warhammer community website will feature nice close-up pictures of all of the miniatures we've seen today, so you can go and have an ogle at them at your leisure. If you want to watch this show back again, if you've kind of tuned in halfway through, this will be available to watch on twitch.tv/Warhammer in like a few minutes once it's been uploaded again. So if you didn't get the first few minutes or you missed an element with one of the people, we've had some really good conversations today, so you can watch it back.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It has been a pleasure to spend some time in your company. Eddie, it's been great talking to you about this and rummaging through, frankly, the most exciting box I've ever opened in my life. Thank you, Ben Bailey, for being the power behind the camera and making sure that everything ran smoothly. And to all our guests who came on, all that remains is to show you just a little glimpse of things to come in the future. We'll leave you with this.
Oh, can you see it yet?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Look at that! Oh, what?
Shut up, it's just starting!
Fire!
Whoa!
Get in!
Christ. Look at this!
Mate, quads!
Yes! Big! Whoa! Crack cannon!
Look at that! Like a static
gun.
Mate.
Oh,
mate, those quads are class!
That turret!
Reinforcements inbound soon.
Jesus
Mate,
Christ.
They look class.
That ATV is insane.
That looks class. So that is the end of the official Twitch. I'm just going to switch back to our normal chat screen. But yeah, geez, that was those reinforcement things look class.
You see that? I actually prefer the Space Marine reinforcements. The turret and the ATV were insane.
Yeah, that looks class, man. That
was cool.
It was
very cool. So what is everyone's thoughts? Obviously, I didn't expect for us to find out a price or a date today, but there is some mega stuff in that box, and then they've just shown us even more. That heavy destroyer with that big ridiculous gun was insane as well for the Necrons.
Very good. It's very good. All good stuff, man. I think that today's stream from Warhammer TV was pretty awesome. Is that the first time they've ever done that about a box set coming out that they've done an unboxing? I've never noticed them to do an unboxing.
I mean, I don't really think that was but it was an unboxing. They showed you everything in it. But I'm not sure if it was. But I think it was due to I don't know if they'd have done that video if we weren't in lockdown. But I think it might have been the first where they've kind of revealed everything in the box on Warhammer TV. I don't know. Steve Bonner saying, Jay, wife says, watch your language. Did I swear?
You always swear, mate. You got a potty mouth. Yeah.
Oh well.
I need to keep my finger on that mute button. But that's exciting stuff. Really cool.
They ended like that because we've seen snippets of all that stuff. It was great to see it all properly, and then they've ended going, and here's what's next.
Yeah, and here's this. This will whet your appetite. Have a bit of that.
The launch box thing's interesting. So, obviously, they alluded to that's the bit that caught me at the end. The fact that it won't be available forever. They did stress that if you want one, you'll get one. So that shouldn't be an issue. But what that means is it gives them scope to arguably let that run for 6
Excuse just bear with me a second. I'm just trying to turn Twitch off, but it won't, and it's got music playing. There we go. Sorted.
You good?
Sorted. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, the launch box, they've confirmed everyone will get one if they want one, so we shouldn't worry about stock, touch wood. But what that lets them do is, let's say if they leave that for 3 months and then it's not available anymore, then we get a starter set.
Mm-hmm.
And the starter set could be different factions, or it could be the stuff we've just seen in the coming soon. So the starter set could have more Marines in, and then all the stuff from that little video at the end, and then the 2 boxes will give you kind of a variety of everything. It's pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Obviously, we know there's even more to come as well, because we've seen from some of the leaked images and the announcement images, we've seen the new Tesseract. We've seen the Silent Kings model for Necrons. So there's a lot of new Warhammer toys to come.
I think I'm gonna have to have a word with the little boy Steve that's inside me that wants everything that's in the box, and make a decision that I need to move on the Necron stuff. I think.
Give it to me. I'll do it for you, mate.
I need to move
I've got
it.
you, bro.
You're
welcome. You'll be one.
I think I need to move it on. It's awesome, and I want it, but we've got a lot of stuff that's due out for Middle Earth. With the ring bearer supplement and models and AMA and whatever else comes out with the Quest of the Ring Bearer. I've got all the new Space Marine stuff. I've got to be realistic. I think I'm not going to paint the Necrons. Really not.
I mean, for me, I'm just doing the Necrons. The Space Marines, I'm moving on just so I can get an army ready, get it on the table.
Should we just swap them?
I've already got 2 lines.
Oh, that is it. Is it? Is it? So anyone in the chat wants to swap their Space Marine half for the Necron half, do hit me up, and we'll make that.
But no, it's very exciting times, and I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah,
Bring on 9th edition top table gaming 40k.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to putting a lot of content out for 40k. I'm really excited for it. This is the most exciting. I was excited about 40k when we were doing the Conquest magazine stuff. I was really getting into it. But now with the new edition coming out, I'm proper hyped for it. But yeah, I think what we'll do. It's been a nice stream doing this reaction stream. I think we had about 40 people in consistently, which is very, very good. Thank you everyone for watching. What have we got next? What have we got coming up? You've got the top 5 things you want to see.
So I've done kind of a little video around the changes I'd like to see in 40k. That'll be coming out soon. It's just my own opinion about stuff that I'd like to see, given I've played the last couple of editions, and what I'd like to see in this one. And I've got my hobby vlog dropping soon as well. and I'm working on a few other bits. So we are keeping the content going in these crazy, crazy times. And obviously, you unboxed Prophecy of the Wolf this week.
Yes.
And you did a bit of chat about what we've seen in 40k so far, right?
Yeah, and I think we'll probably do. We don't want to do what we know so far every time some new news comes out, but we may do another one just before the actual release, maybe of just to sort of a roll call on everything that we know for fact about the game. Because it's going to be cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing some battle reports. I'm looking forward to getting some people on who are far more experienced than any of us are in 40k. Right. That'll be very, very cool. And who knows? There might be, depending on how popular it is and how much you guys want to see it, we might take that a little bit further and do some other stuff we do with Middle Earth. You never know. Well, might be events and all sorts going up. Who knows? But yeah, that's cool. I think what we'll do is we'll call it, because I've been up since very early this morning. I had a quick bite to eat before the stream, and I am starving, so I need to go and do the big shop, Saturday big shop, and get some food in to cook dinner. So yeah, anything you want to finish on, Jay?
No, just cheers for watching along. Make sure you're all over in the Top Table Gaming community chatting, and let us know over there as well if this is the sort of stuff you want us to do in the future when they're revealing new products. Because we've never done one of these watch-alongs before, but it's definitely a lot more fun than sitting at home when we can chat to you guys about it at the same time. So I've enjoyed it.
It's a lot easier than our normal streams because we just sat there not saying anything.
Yeah.
We sat there going, wow, yeah, cool. Hey.
Don't forget, you've got Top Table Live on Wednesday, so tune in on Wednesday night and me and Steve will be talking nonsense and we can chat about 40k or anything else. But we'll be live with our usual shenanigans on Wednesday night. But other than that, thank you for watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Take care, and do let us know. Get over to the Top Table Gaming Community Facebook group, and we can continue this conversation there. And let us know what you're excited about, and yeah, everything else that there is to do with gaming, 40k, Middle Earth, whatever you want to chat about. If you're not over there, do get over there. It's an awesome group. So thank you guys. I will see you Wednesday, if not before. And make sure if you've not subscribed, you already subscribe and click the bell button so you get notified as soon as we release some new videos. But I know Ben is going to be beavering away over the next few days, getting some content together for you as well. So yeah, keep your eye out for that. But thank you guys. We'll see you soon. Take care and keep washing your hands.